4 years, they were one of the most admired and quietly enduring couples in the entertainment world. Their love story wasn't built on constant headlines or dramatic displays. It was rooted in friendship, laughter, and a shared understanding that seemed to outlast the pressures of fame. So when news broke that Cat Deeley and Patrick Kielty had decided to separate after more than a decade of marriage, it felt less like a scandal and more like the closing of a deeply personal chapter. Behind the simple statement announcing their separation lies a story that began long before their romance, one shaped by timing, growth, and the complicated reality of life under the spotlight. A friendship that came first. Long before they became husband and wife, Cat Deeley and Patrick Kielty were friends. Their paths crossed in the early 2000s when both were rising stars in British television. Cat, known for her charm and effortless warmth, was quickly becoming a household name as a presenter. Patrick, with his sharp wit and natural comedic timing, had carved out a successful career as a comedian and host. They met through work like many in the industry do, but what stood out was how naturally they connected. There was no rush, no immediate whirlwind romance. Instead, there was comfort, a rare ease that comes from two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. At the time, neither could have predicted that this friendship would later become the foundation of a marriage that would span continents and major life changes. Love, timing, and distance. Their romantic relationship didn't begin until years later. Life had taken them in different directions, both professionally and personally. Cat had moved to the United States, becoming a beloved figure on television, while Patrick continued to build his career in the UK and Ireland. When they finally reconnected, everything seemed to fall into place. Sometimes, love isn't about finding the right person at the right time. It's about finding the right person and waiting until time catches up. In 2012, the couple surprised fans by tying the knot in a private ceremony in Rome. It was a moment that reflected who they were as a couple. Understated, intimate, and focused on what truly mattered. There were no extravagant public displays, no media frenzy, just two people choosing each other, building a life together. Marriage brought new beginnings. Cat and Patrick settled into life together, while balancing demanding careers that often placed them on opposite sides of the Atlantic. For Cat, Los Angeles became home as she continued her successful run in television. For Patrick, work commitments often brought him back to the UK. Their relationship required compromise, communication, and a deep level of trust. In 2016, their lives changed forever with the birth of their first son. A second child followed, bringing even more joy and responsibility into their world. Parenthood added another layer to their relationship. Friends often described them as devoted and hands-on, prioritizing family life despite their busy schedules. They were rarely seen chasing publicity, choosing instead to keep their personal lives private and grounded. From the outside, they appeared to have found a balance that many couples struggle to achieve. The quiet challenges. But like any long-term relationship, especially one lived in the public eye, their journey wasn't without its challenges. Distance, while manageable at first, can slowly reshape a relationship. Time zones, travel schedules, and career demands can create gaps, not always visible to the outside world, but deeply felt by those living within them. There's also the quiet pressure of evolving as individuals. Over time, people change. Priorities shift. What once aligned perfectly can begin to move in different directions. For Cat and Patrick, these changes didn't happen overnight. There was no single moment that defined the shift. Instead, it was gradual, like two paths slowly diverging after years of running side by side. Those close to the couple have suggested that their separation wasn't marked by conflict or drama, but by a mutual recognition that their relationship had reached a new phase. The announcement, When they finally confirmed their separation, the tone of their statement spoke volumes. There was no blame, no accusations, only respect. They emphasized their continued commitment to co-parenting their children and maintaining a strong family unit. It was clear that, while their marriage was ending, their bond as partners in raising their children remained intact. In a world where celebrity separations often become spectacles, their approach stood out. It was calm, measured, human, a different kind of ending. Not all love stories end with a dramatic break or a bitter fallout. Some simply change. Cat and Patrick's separation feels like one of those stories, a reminder that relationships don't have to end in order to fail. Sometimes, they evolve into something different, something quieter, but still meaningful. Their years together weren't erased by their decision to part ways. If anything, those years remain a testament to what they built. A life, a family, and a partnership that worked for as long as it needed to. Life after marriage. As they move forward separately, both Cat and Patrick face a new chapter. For Cat, her career continues to thrive. Known for her resilience and warmth, she has always adapted gracefully to change. Friends describe her as someone who finds strength and independence, even during difficult times. Patrick, too, has long been admired for his grounded personality. His humor, often rooted in honesty, suggests a man capable of navigating life's complexities with perspective and grace. Their separation doesn't mark an end to their individual journeys, only a shift in how those journeys intersect. The impact on family. At the heart of their decision are their children. For any couple, the decision to separate becomes even more significant when children are involved. It requires not just emotional strength, but a shared commitment to ensuring stability and love remain constant. By all accounts, Cat and Patrick have approached this responsibility with care. Their focus remains on providing a supportive environment, one where their children continue to feel secure and deeply loved. In many ways, this may become their most important collaboration yet, not as spouses but as co-parents. Why their story resonates. Part of what makes their story so impactful is its relatability. Not every relationship ends in a dramatic fashion. Many people experience the quiet realization that something has shifted, that love, while still present, has changed form. Cat and Patrick's story reflects that reality. It reminds us that relationships are not static. They grow, adapt, and sometimes they reach a point where continuing in the same way is no longer possible. And that's not always a failure. Sometimes, it's an act of honesty, a legacy of love and respect. Even in separation, there is something admirable about the way Cat Deeley and Patrick Kielty have handled their journey. They've shown that it's possible to part ways without tearing everything apart. That respect can remain even when a relationship changes. That love doesn't always disappear. It simply takes on a different shape. Their story isn't defined by its ending, but by how they've chosen to navigate it. Looking ahead, the future will undoubtedly bring new challenges and new opportunities for both of them. There may be moments of reflection, of adjustment, of rediscovery, but there will also be growth. Because if their story has shown anything, it's that both Cat and Patrick are capable of embracing change with grace. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway. Final thoughts. In the end, the separation of Cat Deeley and Patrick Kielty isn't just a headline. It's a deeply human story. It's about love that lasted, even if it didn't last forever. It's about two people who found each other, built a life together, and then made the difficult decision to move forward in a different way. And in that decision, there is a quiet kind of courage. Not the kind that makes noise, but the kind that endures. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about how something ends, but about how it was lived.